All right, so we will start on our seat, and just in our comfortable, easy seat position, one shin in front of the other. Draw your flesh kind of just away from those sits bones so you can be grounded even more. Maybe wiggle out just a little bit in your torso. Allow your hands to gently rest on your knees. Begin to sit up tall, your spine lengthen, and then gently close your eyes. Allowing your eyelids to relax, relaxing in that third eye space. Allowing all of the external thoughts, sounds, smells, everything around you, just notice them and let them be, and maybe even help allow them to melt away. As we move internal here, begin to notice your breath. And begin to lengthen your inhales and your exhales. Deep inhale, deep exhale. And I'll work you through tonight our 3-part breath. Inhaling for 4, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6. So empty out your final breath on your own. And inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, and exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, and exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, and exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bring to your mind's eye the word peace, what that word means to you. Quite often we move throughout our life thinking about our past, worrying about our future, and have a hard time just settling and being peaceful with our present. So as we move throughout the practice tonight, keep that intention at the forefront of your mind. When we allow our bodies to move and breathe, we allow our souls to heal and be at peace. Let's invite movement now with our breath. Keeping your eyes closed if you want to, or opening them. Inhale, lifting up for a little cow position with our spine. Our gaze goes up towards the sky. And then rounding out our belly, navel draws in, chin tucks for cat. Then create like this big flow with it, really moving, almost like you're moving through honey. And inhale, coming up for cow, and exhale, rounding out for cat. You're just gently moving. If you have music on in the background, find maybe the beat of that soft music. And move through this position on your own for about 3 inhale and exhales. Inhaling for cow, and exhaling, really rounding out the spine for cat. One more round on your own here. And then we'll meet back in neutral spine. And we'll take our big circle rolls, leading with our chest over to that right knee, to the front, to the left knee, and back. Making really big circles here with your torso. Maybe pausing in any spot that feels a little funny, holding it, releasing any tension. Again, we're moving really slowly and gently here, allowing us to feel every movement, every sensation that in our bodies come up. And then let's reverse that circle. So taking your chest over to that left knee, over to the middle, and then the right. Just moving gently, mindfully, peacefully. And then we'll meet back in center, sitting up tall again. Let's just take some big some shoulder rolls, bringing your shoulders up and back. Again, maybe holding in a spot for a minute and then releasing and letting it go. And then we're going to reverse those circles. So going back and then up again. Really big movements with your shoulders. You might even hear some pops and cracks. That's normal. It's okay. And then come back to neutral. Just take our gaze over that right shoulder. Just hold it here for a minute. And then drop your chin down towards the armpit and around your chest to the left. And then taking your gaze and holding on the left side. And then dropping your chin down to your armpit, down around to the chest, over to the right. Just move through this a couple times. Make sure your shoulders are dropped away from your ears and relaxed. Make sure your jaw is relaxed. And then bring your head back to center. And let's just switch the position of our feet. So whatever foot was in front, change that out and put the opposite one in front. Then we're going to inhale, arms up overhead. We're going to take a gentle twist on the exhale, but we're not going to hold here. We're just going to twist gently over to the right. Then inhale, arms up to center. And exhale over to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, over to the right. Move through this. Again, gently, peacefully. Kind of on your own breath here. Inhales, big inhales, filling up that belly and diaphragm. Big exhales, slowly releasing it out. Just a couple more times through. Keeping your eyes closed if you still want to block off that external world around you. And then finally, we'll land over to the right, twisting over to the right. That left hand can be on top of the right knee. And the other hand, so your right hand can be behind you. Inhale, lift up a little bit taller, and on your exhale, twist just a little bit deeper to that left side, taking your gaze over the left shoulder. Staying in the twist, take your gaze over the left shoulder. And then inhale, arms back up, and exhale over to the left. That right hand comes on top of the left knee, the left arm comes behind you, gaze goes over the left shoulder. And then staying in the twist, gaze goes over the opposite shoulder. And then inhale, arms back up to center. And exhale, bring them down beside of you. We're going to inhale over to the right. I'm not going to hold here for very long. Just reach over to the right. Then inhale, arms up. Exhale, over to the left. Arms back up. And again, move through on your own. Feeling your own internal breath. Moving maybe with the music. Your own rhythm. Your own little dance. And then we'll all meet over on the right and really reach out of those fingertips on the left. Make sure your chest is still lifted, your shoulders drawing away from your ears. Your gaze can be forward, it can be down, or it can be up to the sky. Notice if you take it up to the sky, it actually opens up that shoulder just a little bit more. And then inhale, arms up, and exhale over to that other side, to the left. Shoulders away from the ears. Fingertips drawing over top of the crown of the head. Gaze can be forward to the ground or up to the sky. And inhale, arms back to center. Exhale, hands to heart. And then we're going to switch the position of our legs once more. So whichever foot was in front, take that to the back. Let's bring our arms out to a T position and draw that right arm underneath the left, finding our eagle arms. The palms can be, the back of the palms can be pressing, or the palms together can be pressing, or you can even wrap around and grab a hold of your shoulders. Find whatever works. Lift your elbows slightly so they're aligned with your shoulders. Draw your shoulders down to the earth, away from the ears. Slightly engage your core. Find your breath. And then release those arms. Bring them back out into that T position. And now draw the opposite arm underneath. So that left arm comes underneath the right. Finding your eagle arms, if you want the back of the palms pressed to the front, or wrap around your shoulders. Again, we're slightly engaging the core by holding the navel in closely to the spine. You're finding your breath. And then release those arms back into a T and then down. And then let's draw our soles of our feet together, bringing the soles of the feet close to our hips. Interlace your fingers and grab the hold of the bottom of the feet. So you're creating like a little sling here with your hands. Sit up tall, lifted out of that rib cage, and leading with your heart, fold slightly forward, finding the edge where you feel the sensation. You want a straight spine in this pose. So if you need to back out just a little bit so that you have that straight spine, you may do so. And then slowly come back up. Then we're going to take our feet a little bit wider. So we have our wide diamond shape here. Again, sitting up tall, but this time we're going to allow our spine to really round. This forearms can rest on your shins or your calves. You can completely melt down, releasing your head and your neck. We're going to be here for about 10 rounds of breath. So allow yourself to really melt into this. And then when you're ready, slowly roll one vertebrae at a time back up to a neutral spine. And we're going to take our hands on both sides of the knees, draw them in. Let's walk our feet out wide. So they're a little bit wider than our hips. And then maybe heel toe your feet slightly forward. So it's kind of a more gentle bend of the knees here. And we're going to wrap our arms underneath, almost like we're threading them through underneath both legs, allowing your palms to just kind of rest open, and then allow those knees to come out and just melt down onto your arms, rounding your spine and just allowing your head to release down. And then we'll slowly back out of that and bring your knees now together and come back kind of onto the back of your sits bones. We're just going to windshield wiper our knees over to one side and then the other. You can kind of make this big if you want to, making a big twist with your torso, or you can just keep your torso level and straight. Just find whatever your body needs. Just kind of windshield wiping back and forth. And then we will find our way now on our tabletop. So your hands directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. You can come onto the balls of your feet, tuck your toes, or come onto the tops of your feet, whatever feels right tonight. Let's inhale, lift up for our cow. Our pelvis tilts. And exhale, round out the spine. Draw your navel in, your chin tucks for cat. Inhale, cow, coming away, bringing the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, round out that spine to cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Just move through that. About 3 more cycles of breath on your own. Maybe even make it a little funky if you want to round and go over to the right, over to the left, and then tilt back up. Just finding whatever feels best in your body tonight. And then coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to push back into child's pose, extending our arms long. Our knees are slightly together. And then inhale, rise back up, lift for cow. Then on the exhale, round your spine and push back to child's pose. And create a little flow here Again, on your own, everybody's body needs something different and moves differently. So inhaling forward for a cow. Exhale, round for that cat and press back into child's pose. Do this a couple more times on your own. And then we will meet in child's pose. You can keep your knees together or spread them wide with your big toes touching. Allowing your arms out extended long in front of you, or you can bend at the elbows and bring one hand and forearm on top of the other and allow your forehead to rest down. Or you can even bring your arms behind you, resting on the lower back. And we'll be here for 10 cycles of breath, so find whatever feels best and melt into that. Feeling your diaphragm expanding on the inhale, and slowly releasing out on the exhale. Allowing that breath to nourish every cell and organ in your body. Then we'll slowly rise back up into that tabletop position. So if your knees are wide, draw them back underneath your hips. Bring your hands directly underneath your shoulders. And we're going to extend that right leg back behind us. Just having it floating in the air there for just a moment. Activating the leg by flexing in that right foot. Our navel's drawing in, so we're activating our core. And then allow that foot to come down onto the ground, coming onto your toes, and imagine you're pressing your heel down to the ground. So you're gonna feel that big stretch in the calf muscle. You can even push through the hands slightly for a little bit more of a stretch. Keep your gaze just soft and steady, slightly in front of you. And then we're gonna take that right foot and we're gonna actually cross the leg over the left. So you have kind of like a cross body. Keep the integrity of your spine, straight spine, pressing through your hands, coming onto the toes on that right foot. And again, imagine yourself melting and drawing that right heel down to the earth. Notice how that changes the stretch. And then come back to tabletop. And just shake your hips from right to left for a minute. And then we're going to extend that left leg long behind us. Again, flexing out of the left foot. Just holding it here in the space just for a moment. And then bringing it down all the way onto the ground, onto your toes. Pressing through your heel, pressing through your hands. Feeling that stretch in the back calf. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, release in that space. And then we're going to do the same thing like we did on the other leg. Cross that left leg now over the right. And then melt that heel towards the ground. You're going to feel a stretch in that right glute. And then your calf, the left calf. And then come back to center, bring that left knee down and shake out the hips, just slightly. And keeping our hips lifted, extend your arms long out in front of you, finding our puppy pose, allowing your chest to come down and then your forehead to come onto the mat. Hold here for about 5 cycles of breath. If you want to shake, kind of wag your tail a little bit to have some movement in this, you may, or you can stay still. And then slowly lifting back up, bringing your hands back underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, lift your hips, and we'll find downward facing dog. Slowly bend one knee and then the other, pressing into, in between that space of your point your finger and your thumb of your hands. Shoulders away from the ears. We're still just pedaling out the heels, bending one knee and the other, slowly moving in our down dog here. And then coming back, extending both legs behind you. Just take your gaze forward. And then back, tucking your chin all the way to your chest. Take your gaze forward, all the way as much as you can, stretching out the front of your neck, and then tucking your chin, allowing a stretch in the back of your neck. And shake your head no. Shake your head yes. And then drop your knees back down onto the mat. Walk your hands just about an inch in front of you, bringing your hips forward and bending your elbows, drawing them into your rib cage, coming down to chaturanga. Let's interlace our hands behind our back, extending our arms long and lifting up our chest, pressing into the tops of your feet. Make sure you're breathing. And then release all of that down with your left ear coming down to the ground. We'll do that one more time. So bring your chin back to center, to the mat. Interlace your hands and lift that chest. Pressing into the tops of your feet, activating the legs and thighs, the glutes. Creating strength in your lower and upper back. Stay lifted. Maybe lift up a little bit higher and release it all out, allowing your right ear now to melt down to the ground. Then bring your chin back to center, your hands on both sides of your chest. Tuck your toes, come back up to your tabletop position. Lift your hips, find downward facing dog. Breathe here. Resist the urge to want to do a vinyasa flow. Try to be at peace with just holding the down dog. And then come back down onto the knees. And we're going to sit up here, lifting up and extend that right leg out to the side, coming onto your heel with your toes pointed up towards the sky. Your hips are neutral. And we're going to inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, draw that right arm down to the thigh or the shin, or maybe even you can touch your toes. And extend that left arm long. We're going to inhale, arms back up. And exhale, drop that left arm down, extending now out of the right arm. Let's create a flow with that. So inhale up, exhale over to the right. Inhale up, exhale over to the left. Let's move through that about 3 times. And then lastly, we'll inhale, arms up to center, and then bring that right leg back down and arms back down beside of you. And we'll extend our left leg out long to the left, coming onto that heel with the toes pointed up towards the sky. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, come over to the left. The left hand can reach the thigh, the shin, or even the toes. Reaching that right arm long towards those left toes. Then inhale, rise up. Exhale, bring that right arm down. And the left arm extends long. And inhale, rise up. Exhale, reach to the left. Move through this about 3 times. Holding your core in, keeping your chest lifted, keeping your shoulders away from the ears. And then inhale, arms back up, and bring that left knee in, and bring your hands down to heart center. And let's come on to our toes. And bring your hands behind you with your fingertips pointed down. Draw your elbows towards one another so your chest is lifted. But notice if your rib cage wants to kind of like splay out, and hold that in. Hold all of that space, all of your diaphragm, all your rib cage, holding it in. But you're still lifting your chest. And just take your gaze up towards the sky. Maybe even completely release your head back behind you. Make sure you're breathing. And then bring your head slowly back up. And we'll release our hands back down, finding the tabletop once more. Tucking your toes, lifting your hips. Downward facing dog. Let's walk our feet out wide to the outer edges of the mat. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Finding this wide leg forward fold. And then interlace your hands behind your back, lifting your chest up slightly, and then folding all the way forward. If you need to keep that bend in your knees, you may do so, or keep your legs straight. Just try not to lock your knees. Notice that you are equal weight on your feet, so you're not too far forward on your toes and you're not too far back onto your heels, but you have an equal weight. And then release your head and your neck. Shake it yes, shake it no. And then unwind your hands, release your hands onto the mat. Let's heel toe our feet about hips distance apart and slowly roll up one vertebrae at a time. Having our head be the last thing that comes up, roll your shoulders up and back. And then we will inhale our arms up overhead and exhale over to the left, bringing that right arm long. The other arm comes down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, over to the left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, over to the right. Inhale, arms up. This time we're going to take a swan dive as slowly as you can with your arms out into a T. Your hands are flexed. Your core is engaged. Slowly swan dive. Fold forward. We're in our forward fold here, and let's take a big step back, finding our low runner's lunge with our right foot. Just hold in our runner's lunge here just for a minute, feeling the big stretch in your psoas muscle, that right hip. Again, drawing, think about like what we did earlier, drawing that right heel down towards the ground. Notice how that might change the position, the stretch for you. And then drop that right knee onto the mat, uncurl your toes, and inhale, arms up, lift up. Gaze goes up towards the sky. Then let's exhale, draw our arms into cactus pose. Hold here just for a moment, lifting our chest. Again, same thing with earlier. You don't want your ribs sprayed out too much or creating too much of a C shape with your back. You want your pelvis tucked, your ribs in, but your chest is still lifted and your shoulders are still away from your ears. Gaze can be up towards the sky. Let's inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, arms to cactus. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. One more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. And then bring your arms back down on both sides of that left foot. And then we're going to heel toe the left foot out slightly. Bring the left arm in to meet the right. So if you need to bring that right leg back just a little bit to feel even deeper stretch in that right psoas muscle, you can. You can stay here, or you can press into that left knee. If you want an even deeper stretch, you can come onto that side of that left foot for the full lizard. Make sure you're still staying lifted here. We're not bowing forward in this lizard. And then bring your left knee back in, heel toe your left foot, tuck the toes of the right leg, extend, lift that right knee, extend the right leg, draw the left foot back to meet the right, and find your down dog. Hold in the down dog, resist that urge, find to do that vinyasa and find your peace. And then walk your feet out to that wide leg, forward fold, and walk your hands back to meet your feet. Interlace your hands behind your back, lifting that chest up slightly, and then folding forward, releasing the head and releasing the neck. And we'll release our arms back down. Heel toe your feet, hips distance apart once more, and slowly roll up, one vertebrae at a time. Coming up to mountain. Shoulders, roll your shoulders up and back. We'll do that little mountain flow here. So inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, over to the left. Excuse me, the right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. We'll do that really slow. Forward swan dive, fold. Arms come out to a T, leading with your chest. Slowly folding forward. And releasing your hands down onto the mat. We're going to take a big step now back with our left leg, coming in that low runner's lunge. Here on the other side. Hold here just for a moment. Imagine melting that heel down to the earth. And then we're going to drop that left knee onto the mat, uncurl the toes, and lift up. Arms up overhead. Gaze goes with it. And then exhale, hands to cactus. Again, check in with the alignment. Maybe if you're wanting to go forward a lot, tuck in your belly, engaging the core slightly, holding in the rib cage. Arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to cactus. Maybe bending a little bit more into it so that you can have more of a stretch in your legs, your hips. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale, cactus. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale, cactus. Once more. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus. And then bring your hands back down. Your right hand comes to meet your left, heel toe that right foot slightly out. Stay here, or you can gently press that right knee open. Or for the full version, come on to the side of that right foot. Finding the full lizard. Make sure you're breathing. You don't want any pain in these poses. If you feel any pain, your knee, your hips, anywhere, ease back out. And then draw that right knee back in. Heel toe the right foot slightly. Tuck the back toes, lift that left knee, draw the right foot back to meet the left. Find your down dog. And then we're gonna stay in the down dog with our legs and our hips. We're gonna come onto our forearms for dolphin. So this is actually a really hard pose for me because I have really tight hamstrings and calf muscles. But if you can walk your feet in even more for deeper stretch, you may do so. But this is about all I can do. Your palms and your fingers are spread wide. Your palms are pressed firmly onto the ground. You can release your head. Make sure you're breathing. What this is a prep for headstand. So this is kind of one of the first things you do to kind of get your body ready to be able to do a headstand. And then when you're ready, bring your knees back to the mat. And either with your knees together or spread out, find your child's pose. Extending your arms long out in front of you, melting your forehead down to the mat. And then slowly lift back up and bring your knees over to one side, finding yourself on your bottom with your legs extended long out in front of you. Flexing your feet. Moving again the flesh away from that sits bone. Sitting up nice and tall. This might just be enough. Or slowly leaning forward. Again, we want to kind of keep the integrity of our spine. So we want a straight spine. We don't want to round in this. So your hands can be at the shin. Actually, you can even be at the thighs, the shin, ankles, or the toes. You can slightly bend your knees if you want. Slightly tuck your chin. And then we'll draw our knees into our chest. This is one of my favorite poses to do. Draw your knees into your chest. Your heels come as closely to your glutes as possible. Lift up tall. Wrap your arms around your knees. And then melt your chin to your chest. And close your eyes. And then staying here with your knees, just take your gaze up to the sky. Maybe even open your mouth, wiggle your jaw back and forth. And then bring your head back to center. And we'll roll back onto our mat. You need to scoot up slightly so you can have enough room. Roll back one vertebrae at a time. Keeping our knees bent here. We'll go through our flow, our bridge flow. So walk your heels slightly in towards your glutes. Your arms are long, extended beside of you. Press into your feet, lift your hips. Inhale, your arms up overhead. Exhale. Bring your hips back down, arms come down beside of you. Inhale, lift up, arms come up overhead. Exhale, draw your hips back down. Work through that about 5 times in your own flow. And then lastly, let's lift our hips and we'll stay in our bridge with our arms beside of us. And then slightly tucking both of your shoulder blades underneath you. So you're kind of like creating an even deeper stretch in the front of your chest. And then interlace, see if you can interlace your hands behind your back. Make sure your knees might want to splay out here. Make sure your knees are drawing in. You're active through your thighs, active in your glutes, pressing firmly into your feet. Gaze is up towards the sky. Find your breath. And then release your fingers your hands if they are interlaced, and slowly roll one vertebrae at a time. And draw your knees into your chest. Roll from side to side, massaging out your lower back. Keeping your knees bent, lift your feet up towards the sky, flexing out of your feet. You can stay here with your hands resting gently on your shins, or grab a hold of the outside of both feet, finding your happy baby. Notice if your lower back wants to lift up off the ground. Draw your spine and your lower back tailbone all the way down to the ground. Notice you're going to feel a deeper stretch that way, but that's how the pose needs to be. You can stay here or just make it playful. You're rolling from side to side, extending one leg and bending the other. And then lastly, we'll draw the soles of our feet together. Knees come out and slowly allow your legs to come down. So the soles of your feet are touched, your knees are out. Finding your little butterfly position here. Let's take one hand to our belly, one hand to our heart, and close our eyes. Coming back to that intention of peace. And notice how when you move in your body on your own pace, with your own breath, how that centers and grounds you. Notice if you feel a little bit more at peace now than at the beginning of the class. Maybe the noise of what you had going on in your mind has gone away, and you're able to fully rest. And then keeping your eyes closed, take both of your hands and gently press your knees back together, coming onto the soles of your feet. Your knees are bent. Heel toe your feet out, the outer edges of your mat, and allow your knees now to draw into one another. Now they're touching. And it's a different form of releasing your hips, releasing everything. And then in this, allow your arms now to fully rest beside of you, your palms face up to the sky. And then begin wiggling your toes. And heel toe your feet now back to about hips distance apart. Just like we did at the beginning of class, we're going to windshield wiper our knees from one side to the other. Slowly moving, awakening our bodies up again. Maybe even holding on one side for a little mini twist. And then going over to the other side. And then lastly, roll over to your right side, drawing your knees closely into your chest so you have a really deep pose here with your chin tucked, coming onto that right arm in this deep fetal position. Just hold here for a moment. And then pressing into your left hand, slowly come up to our seated position. Sitting up tall. Let's inhale, arms up overhead, taking your gaze with it. And exhale, palms press, bringing them down to your heart space. Closing your eyes once more, slightly tucking your chin. And repeat after me the 3 mantras. I am at peace. I am strong. I am kind. I wish you peace, joy, and love as you go throughout the rest of your night. Thank you so much for showing up for class tonight. Namaste.